Hello Superset Maniacs and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Supersetman hybrid comparison in which we're going to compare our perfect bodybuilding physique hybrid to Ronnie Coleman this time. His 2003 Mr. Olympia version, one of his best versions, my favorite version of his freakiest and most dominant physique he has ever brought to a bodybuilding stage in my opinion. For those of you who don't know what the perfect bodybuilding physique hybrid is, I'll briefly explain what it's all about. On this channel we have built in Photoshop the perfect bodybuilding physique using different body parts from different bodybuilders depending who's got that best body part. For all the 8 mandatory poses of course. You guys can find in the description all the videos where we explain which body part we're using for every pose and why. Now, comparing this physique to Ronnie Coleman would seem pointless in theory, as a perfect physique hybrid will always beat a real bodybuilder, who will never be perfect. However, Ronnie was such an outstanding bodybuilder, so dominant, who's got the natural flow and balance on his side, him being a real human being after all, makes this comparison closer than most would expect. So without further ado, let's get to the poses. And we start with the front double biceps pose. I will call the Supersetman hybrid bodybuilder simply Supersetman, as it also has my face. So we're gonna have Supersetman versus 03 Ronnie Coleman in this comparison. That's why I chose to give the hybrid my height, which is around 1.77 meters, whereas Ronnie is 180. So the difference in height is somewhere around 1 inch. I've heard people saying that the hybrid's midsection is unrealistically tight, and that's true, it looks so, but I only used Brian Buchanan's midsection, which indeed looks photoshopped, but it's as real as you can get. Just Google him, guys. Back to the pose, Ronnie is not winning this pose against Supersetman, as Supersetman already has Ronnie's quads and tricep sweeps, better calves, better forearms, way bigger biceps and an incredible V-taper, and also hitting a vacuum. However, if we ignore the midsections just for fun, I believe Ronnie could win this pose. His biceps are more defined and he is bigger overall. He loses the forearms and the calves, but we all know these body parts are often ignored by the judges. Anyway, this pose goes to Supersetman. Next pose is the front lat spread, and 03 Ronnie had all the tools to hit the most dominant lat spread pose of all time in 2003. However, he totally missed the execution that year, and not only in this particular shot. In every existing photo and footage he's got the same execution, looking both anesthetic and uncomfortable. Supersetman looks top notch, but as most of you have pointed out, his dominant arms may be too overpowering here. Anyway, his V-taper is more pronounced than Ronnie's. His midsection is sunk in nicely, he's got Ronnie's straighted pecs and Jay's incredible quad development. I believe that overall Supersetman has the advantage, but a more inspired execution from Ronnie could have changed the odds in this pose for him. Side chest pose, and Ronnie may have the very best side chest pose of all time, but Supersetman already has Ronnie's incredible thick and straight chest, better arms and perhaps better shoulders, as from this angle Phil is more dominant at these departments. Supersetman also has a more complete lower body with that big rummy side leg and Kai Green calves. Supersetman also has the better controlled waist, so he's getting this pose easily, I would say. Back double biceps, and from the back, Big King Ronnie Coleman is so damn dominant that he even dominates a bodybuilding hybrid that is supposed to be perfect. It's true that body part per body part, Supersetman kinda wins everything. Like Phil's forearms would always be superior to those of Ronnie, as well as the triceps. Kai's peaky biceps look more visible from the back than Ronnie's. Rule's shoulders are probably superior to Ronnie's, I don't know. The hybrid also wins the calves, no doubt. However, we're left with the back and the glute ham department, the most important body parts in this pose after all. On one side we have Dorian's back combined with the fierce glute ham department, and on the other side we have Ronnie Coleman. Once again, body part for body part, you can argue that the hybrid wins it with the exception of glutes maybe, but as they look overall and counting Ronnie's size advantage together with the natural flow, I believe that gives him a pretty strong case for winning the pose. What do you guys think? I'm inclined to give Ronnie the point here. Same thing in the rear lat spread, or should I say that this is even more Ronnie Coleman's advantage than the previous pose? Joel Stubbs' back development was incredible indeed, but in 03 Ronnie was really lights out, game over in this pose. I believe Ronnie has a strong case in winning both back poses against Supersetman here. Obviously it can go either way, but Ronnie may have the advantage in both poses. What do you guys think? Side triceps, and this is a no-brainer. Ronnie usually loses this pose against normal bodybuilders, let alone against a perfect hybrid. Supersetman dominates at every imaginable department as they look here, so this is an easy and obvious point for him, for Supersetman. Same thing can be said for the abs and thighs pose, the only other pose in which Ronnie was never one of the best ever, like in the rest of the mandatories. You could argue that he may win the quads against Supersetman, even though I believe Branch Warren's thighs were extraordinary and could beat even Ronnie, but that big difference is made upstairs. Supersetman has the better abs, the better taper, and the more aesthetic look. This is another Supersetman point. Most muscular pose, and 03 Ronnie is doing excellent again against the Supersetman hybrid. You could argue that if it wasn't for the midsection, Ronnie would win this one, I don't know. However, in my opinion, Fierce's arms and shoulders are more dominant in this pose. The hybrid also has got Ronnie's incredible chest and Jay's quads, which means that overall Supersetman should have the advantage. In conclusion, Supersetman, the perfect bodybuilding hybrid with a build for each of the 8 mandatories, wins this comparison. However, 03 Ronnie Coleman did really good against this photoshopped hybrid. Ronnie won the back poses, guys, which tells a lot. It may tell that I could have done better with the back poses hybrids, but it also shows you how dominant Ronnie Coleman really was from the back. What do you guys think about this comparison? Let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and to subscribe to stay updated. Thank you guys, and see you next time.